Welcome back to the Borgata Poker Open. We're streaming another match tonight, the $2,500 heads-up championship round. There's only 2 players left, and we're going to work with them as we find a winner in this $2,500 event. Real money in play, big buy-in. Love to see heads-up events offered here at Borgata, but I've got a special guest with me. I'm Terrence Reed in the booth, joined by Conrad Simpson.
What is poppin', Terrence? How you feeling today?
Excellent, sir. You're comfortable behind a microphone.
I've been here before.
Always on the comms for the Only Friends podcast.
Who we got here? Heads up here.
We're going to look at our 2 players. They have battled their way down. Nick Popillo there, tournament pro, nearly $6 million in earnings from Arizona.
Yeah, we know Nick. He's alive and everything. And this is Miles, actually. I know Miles as well, young up-and-comer.
Miles' last name, I know it flashed there quickly. We'll see it shortly. Haven't seen Miles play that I'm aware of. Is he Northeast player?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he's friends with, like, Nick Seward.
Okay. Oh, super.
Yeah, I think he's roommates with Nick Seward, to be honest with you.
Well, they're going to start, as these heads-up batches do, very deep. Well, I'm incorrect. It says 750,000 apiece, so just over 100 big blinds.
Nice.
At the 6K level, it looks like.
So I haven't been paying much attention. Was this started with 64 players?
Yes.
Okay.
And win a match, you move on. Started yesterday on January 8th. Played a few rounds, came back today, finished up. Brings us down. This is the only match that's been streamed of the heads-up match. This is the second heads-up match on the schedule. There was a lower buy-in one, I think $360 early on in the series.
Yeah, it was $380. Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, you never see it.
I mean, they were really excited. There was a lot of people really excited to play that match. And then you had Pablo the other day. He was like, I'm going to go play the 2,500 heads-up. He's like, I can't be here on Thursday, but I'm going to play it. I was like, well, yeah, you don't have to worry about Thursday. You'll never make the Final 4.
And sure enough, he didn't.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. Not
there we
at
go.
all.
Miles Mullally. I'm going to go with Mullally. Mullally. One of those 3 options.
I'm going to go with Miles.
All right, Miles sounds good. Let's keep it simple. 125 big blinds each. We are nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. These players have locked up a decent payday, pulling that up for you.
It's 15,000 for second and 31 for first, I believe. I just saw. You know,
right. Just over 15 for second, just over 30 for first.
Nice. You know, it's funny. Do you know anything about heads-up poker?
I've done it a couple times. And I'm hoping I know enough because I actually have a date set in a couple weeks to go play against Doug Polk down in Austin.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a real waste of money.
Yeah, bad spot.
Yeah, like
Did you know this was happening? Is this what you asked me?
No. But if you want, we can just take your money and put it in a dumpster and burn it outside. You know, we can just do that.
People
get it over with.
need it to stay warm out there in these Borgata winters.
What type of heads-up match you guys playing?
You play at 25.50.
You're playing what?
25.50 heads up with Doug. Max buy-in 200 bigs, so 10K starting.
You are aware I can find you a softer spot to play heads up, right?
Hey, I'll take the spots you want, but this is
fun.
fun.
We can find you somebody upstairs that is way less caliber of Doug that will play you.
Doug's a businessman now. It's fun.
Yeah, businessman. Let me tell you, you're on the right path here.
Don't worry. Hey, I'll take you. Lay me odds if you want to. I'm coming out of there positive.
My God. All right, what we got going on here?
Nick Popillo flops best. Domination Nation reversed. Second pair. We're going to see a lot of very wide ranges in heads-up play, super deep, so allows a lot of post-flop playability early on. Very comfortable pros in this game, happy to mess around with the wide ranges.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when heads-up because it's like, it feels like you can just do what you want, man. Like, ranges are so wide, it's just like, all right.
Early on, you can make an argument like, yeah, you can do all 3 options on the table. You'll hear that a lot. Depends kind of how aggressive you want to be, how much you want to mix it up, kind of what edge you think you might have over your opponent as to how big of a pot that you choose to play on any given street.
Well, heads up is interesting because you're playing against that one person over and over and over again every hand. So I guess you get to see a lot of tendencies and stuff.
Right.
And you kind of pick up on different things that goes on in the game. And I don't know, I'm interested to see how this plays out. So it looked like Miles opened here at 15K. Nick calls big blind. Check, 20K call. Check, check, turn. And now Miles is bluffing river, which this looks like a very good card to bluff. Having a heart in the hand is pretty nice. It's the ace is going to hit his range here.
On the flip side for Nick, second pair very strong in a heads-up play, but on this run-out, not a huge fan, and yet finds the call, sets the tone early, finds the call down.
It's funny because, like, in heads up, like, I feel like if you have a pair, like, how do you ever fold?
That's my strategy against Doug. I'm not folding.
Yeah, I mean, don't want that. You're not supposed to say that out loud.
Well, maybe it's the reverse. I'm sure Doug is watching this right now.
But you understand how many minions that man has? It has been sent to him already.
Trust me. Trust me. That here's the thing. You talk about tendencies and trying to pick on them. Doug's not going to pick up anything because I don't know what I'm going to do. So good luck.
That is a very good point you got there, TJ.
Chaos reigns. Another beautiful Borgata trophy sitting in the back, waiting to be picked up by one of these two finalists. And Nick takes an early lead. Of course, we're still very, very deep. Even losing a chunk, Miles has over 100 big blinds. And unless we face Cooler City, likely won't be a super quick spot. Going to be interesting to see like the pre-flop sizings, whether we adjust it based on our actual holding or it stays consistent. Nick going fairly large. Nearly, let's see, we're going 16, nearly 3x at the 6K big blind level.
Nick seems like somebody that wants to get this over with.
Fair enough.
You want to put some chips in the middle. He's Miles is going to be playing I guess, an aggressive strategy from the big blind just because we're heads up here. So I don't know. I think that Nick just wants to put some chips in the middle and get this bad boy over with.
Fair enough. Let's increase the variance and have some fun 15. With it. Nick slightly smaller, but still decent size. 2.5x. This deep, you can see bigger pre-flop raises. You're able to call 3-bets with your good hands in position without bloating the pot more than you'd like.
Yeah, I must say, I've only been heads up maybe, outside of online, maybe like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what goes on in these things, All I know is, like, we just play pretty wide ranges and we have some fun.
And you never know who your heads-up opponent is going to be or how much they know or how deep or shallow you're going to be. But these guys knew exactly how deep they were going to be.
We're about to see some fireworks, it seems, here. These are a lot of good hands.
Real hands and 4 clubs accounted for. Certainly, Nick does not want to see those clubs come out once we see an inevitable flop.
Well, no, I promise you at this moment, Nick wants to see those clubs come out.
He doesn't know that he doesn't want to. To reword my statement. Again, 2.5x open, 4x 3-bet. Piling chips in. 120K pot. There's only 1.5 million total chips in play, so nearly 10% just there in a 3-bet pot. And both players find a pair on the ace, queen, deuce.
Yeah, man, this is one of those situations we're not going to see much folding, flop and turn, it feels like.
Absolutely coming along for at least, a pot-sized bet from Miles, though.
That's interesting. That's very interesting here.
Very polar on the ace-high board.
I'm excited to see how Nick reacts to this.
Same. Sort of simplifies Miles' strategy. Top pair, pot, pot. Let's go. The call or a time bank chip, I suppose.
Time bank,
yes.
Yeah. It actually looked like he uncapped his cards like he was going to fold, and then he found the time bank chip.
Yeah. This is awkward. Second pair. Oh, look at this. Just gets away. World class.
That is very interesting to me because it's hard to fold a pair to one bet on the flop.
Feels like a disaster, honestly, if you're Miles. Our opponent flops second best, but still has a good hand, and we get no value post-flop.
Yeah, I'd be kind of sick right now if I was Miles.
Especially after Nick tanked there, you have to know he folded some value.
Yeah, and like on the ace queen deuce board, just like he most likely just has queen X. It's funny because like if he has a hand like king jack, king 10, like he's gonna continue in some type of fashion, I would assume.
But
he's just drawing to the nuts. But like Nick just knows. Nick is a live pro. The man has 6.5 million in cashes for a reason.
It's true.
He's always in the mix.
A true grinder.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times you'll see people show up with 6 million earnings, and then their largest score is like 3.5. And so it's like mostly one giant score.
No, Nick is like 250.
Correct.
250,000, I think his biggest score was.
We have another, for heads up, cooler flop. Trips versus second pair. Nick again with the worst of it. This time he's the one continuing. Nick just checked pre, so limped pot, check behind. Nick leads the flop on a board that's really hard to connect with. They've both connected.
One raises to 30,000.
Miles plays it fast. Kind of like this. Most cards are going to be scare cards.
Yep.
There are draws present.
Just want to try to get as much value as you can right now, it feels like.
Pile money in.
Yep.
With trips, never bad.
That card is might slow them down a little bit, at least for sizing wise.
I don't think we can just check behind now with Miles, even though the obvious straight comes in. So many other cards our opponent could have.
Yeah, I would expect to see something like a half pot to 75% bet here.
Depending on the river card, even argument can be made that this is worth 3 streets of value. So hard to make trips.
Ooh.
He does get tricky though.
Spicy. Wow, this is going to be really interesting because that's going to be a bluff card for Nick. But he does have something. He does have showdown value.
The danger of checking behind is there's just so many scare cards where we can't get value. Anything over our 10 would scare Nick. A heart, an 8, a 9, etc. But this particular case, a brick of all bricks, the 4 diamonds, worthy of a value bet on the river.
Like, if Nick doesn't think his 7 is good, he can turn his hand into a bluff here. Having the 5 in his hand is probably pretty powerful, but if you're playing heads up and it's just a showdown value. There is nothing.
Thinks his 5's good enough, or his 7's good enough for a call.
Yeah.
Hears and sees the bad news. Miles takes another one down. What are you playing these days? Mostly live, mostly online, Conrad?
Oh, mostly live. You know.
Live pro.
I like to see the people. I like to be with the people.
You are an excellent presence at the table. Everyone seems to leave the table having fun, played with you, no matter what happens. Can't imagine you have too many enemies out there on the live felt.
You'd be surprised. There's always that one person, you know.
Correct, yeah. We're seeing a lot of very strong hands quickly early in this heads-up match. If we would see some of these collisions much later when stacks are shallower, easy to see big pots. Now too deep to get crazy out of control pre-flop. Ace-Jack just takes that one down.
I'm really interested to see how this plays out because I know Miles is really good from what I hear, and we just know Nick is a live pro. Absolute crusher.
What I can find from Miles online, he's got just over 600K in earnings.
And he's probably like 14 years old.
No age given, but 46 results to his name on the Hendon Mob. A couple of first places.
Just scroll down and go see the first one.
Right. His first score was just in 2023, so maybe 21, 22 years old.
Yep.
From Rye, New York. This is his home turf, so to speak. compared with what I would assume. I'm not sure where Nick is based out of. I know he has a family.
Nick is based out of Gilbert, Arizona, I want to say.
That makes sense.
That is literally a guess. I feel like I've seen that before.
I know it is Arizona.
Ooh, got him.
Gilbert, Arizona is right.
I have a very good, weird memory like that.
A zoom in on our trophy. That thing is pretty and heavy. If you came with 45 pounds in your luggage, you're paying an oversized baggage fee on the way home unless you drop some clothes. 2 connected hands. A lot of flops will find both of these.
Yeah, we're called these firework hands. It was, well, we need like an 8 and a 10 on the board. 8. That's not going to do it. No.
Not quite. No diamonds in either hand. Nick, however, with the initiative on the king high board continues.
Miles checking back to look see if he has a diamond. I'm interested if he continues here. Yeah, that makes sense.
Lets it go even with 3 to a straight. Not much else working.
3 to a straight, 3 to a flush. There, maybe you see him, you know, try something out there.
I think with a diamond, probably worth peeling. Without, maybe he'll fold is fine.
I'm not even sure if peel. We might even see a raise.
Fair enough. Continue of some sort.
Yeah.
Not sure how aggressive he plans on being out of position against Papillo, but
it's heads up. Isn't that the name of the game?
You would think.
I don't know. Honestly, like I said, I don't know. I'm learning here.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm learning.
These are fun, but at the same time, like, never in a live tournament when you get heads up do you have 125 bigs, 15. Each of you.
That is
so
true.
This is a unique beast.
I mean, that only happens in...
This is a cash game more than a tournament, to be honest.
Maybe the main event?
Never.
How many,
200, there's never 250 in play at the end, heads up.
How many bigs were they effective in the main event this year?
I can do some, let's do some research.
I'm pretty sure it's semi-deep. That's why we all love the main event.
Chat, if you're there, help us out. Couple of kings. Nick with the better of the 2, but Miles in position, firing out. He's got 2 hard, both of them with backdoor flush draws. The nut variety for Miles, should it come in.
I like this. This is spicy. This is what I was waiting for. A little bit of spiciness going on here. I'm really interested in his decision on picking this hand.
Especially with it being Miles who opened and continued.
Yeah. It's a very interesting move.
Oh, on the ace high board. Might not be intuitive for most, but king high is often just the best hand too. So maybe a little protection and equity denial, but now faces a call and continue. We'll have to navigate some turns.
Spice.
No backdoor, but Miles picks up the best hand out of nowhere, a 3-ball. Not saying he'll feel comfortable with it per se, but if Nick slows down, it makes Miles' life a lot easier.
Yeah. Could probably just play his hand face up, throw a check back, and just try to get the showdown value here.
Check behind, pot control. King would be really bad for Nick. An ace, however, makes Miles feel even better about his pair. Hard to represent anything now as Nick.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
You have to see that Nick, you know, he actually check raised and got value there. Unfortunate to run into the 3 on the turn.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because, like, they're chopping a lot of, like, his king 3 can almost never fold on flop, I feel like. He's just going to have a lot of scenarios where Nick gives up on the turn on that board, because I don't know how much ace X Nick's going to be bringing to the party there by flattening the big blind. Like, yeah, maybe he might have some ace deuce off, but even that wants to raise because, like, you just have an ace in your hand. You just want to, you know, I don't know. That was an interesting one.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like a lot of times we're just trying to get air to folds or get called by a worse
But
king.
when you have the king 8, the thing is, like, you have showdown value.
Right.
Like you
That's
have
what
a
I'm saying.
good hand.
Air folds or check raising for value.
But you don't want the air to fold. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You have the air beat.
Well, when I suppose equity denial is better, like Jack Queen, those kind of hands that have a lot of equity against us. They're not going to fold. We get value out of those hands.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We have Colin Mullally in the chat. That's Miles' brother joining us, helping us out with the pronunciation. Thank you. Glad you're here.
We appreciate you.
Rooting on his brother, taking on the formidable, if I may say so, somewhat intimidating Nick Pupillo. Quiet at the tables, doesn't say much, just operates, gets about business. Very solid mixed game player, too.
Nick's always on the grind. I see Nick in every corner of this world.
Yeah.
Literally.
I don't know that I've ever gone to a series that he wasn't at.
He's at all of them. The man is a grinder.
If you wanted to slide a little bit more this way, just a touch, you can then get a 2-shot. If you can just go a touch that way, then you guys can do what you need to do and we can capture it.
Little logistics from our production team to bring you the better show.
Small blind, please. Last thing we want to do is tell people.
I mean, is this even fun if you don't pick somebody and I don't pick somebody?
I'm picking Nick.
You're picking Nick?
Yeah,
Perfect, because I was going Miles.
He's the underdog with the chip right now, but he also has pocket 10, so.
That's fine.
All right. Got to get some action somehow down here in the booth, away from the tables.
You know, how can you bet against a 23-year-old? You just can't, man.
I've seen too much. Nick's got some experience under his belt.
Oh, I mean, Nick's been through it. Trust me. I think Nick's one of the goats. Goat mid-state grinder.
Heal him on here? Like I could just rob him. Cool.
I've never seen two people look less interested. They look so bored.
You know, heads up tournament, heads up in general, to me personally, is very, very boring.
Yeah.
And even though you get to be like the widest, you get to do the most things in a way, it's just like, I don't know, it feels tedious.
There's like no changing dynamics. It's just, you know, you're playing, like you said, the same opponent every hand. At a full ring game or even 6-max, like different opponents, mixing things up, different stack sizes. This deep, one opponent over and over and over again.
Yeah, this is really tedious from 88
Fair enough. Hence why you needed action. Are we going to start betting on red and black too? I don't think we can do that. The state gaming laws might not allow it.
Oh, man. Always ruining the party. I'm with you, Colin. I'm with you. Don't worry. We're going to teach this TJ something today.
Listen, nothing personal. I don't know Miles at all. Seems competent. Obviously found his way here through a lot of good players in a heads-up event. So no slight to him. Going with the guy I know is all it comes down to.
I just know who Miles' friends are. It's
Fair enough.
Good enough for me.
And family supporting him in the chat.
Love to see it. Love to see it. So how's your time been here at the Winter Poker Open so far?
Pretty good. Obviously, just packed schedule every single day, and we have a large team with Poker.org here. So a lot to do, and the world doesn't stop outside of this either. But the snow kind of complicated that one day, pushed everything back, and hence why we're scheduled for back-to-back streaming duties today.
Nice.
Flying to Vegas tomorrow, dipping back down there for just a few days, and then coming back to finish off the main event.
Wait, what are you going to Vegas for?
I had a pre-existing meetup with some friends, buddies getting married, bringing a few people down there.
Nice.
Had that planned for a couple months before the schedule was announced.
Okay.
Happy to be able to get up here on both sides of it, though.
Yep.
Only played 2 events myself. Oh boy, top 2.
Top 2 here for Miles, a gutter bowl for Nick. With the heart in his hand, so I definitely don't think we're going to see a turn here in some
Miles has thus far opted to go for fairly large sizes when he puts in aggression. That will probably determine how Nick continues. Like a check raise. Very vulnerable 2-pair on this board.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing a check raise here, I assume. I wonder what size he picks. I don't think we're going to see Nick fold too much.
If I were to get in Miles' head, we're going like 95, 100.
All right. I was thinking 75 maybe.
Just picked it because Miles has been pretty big. 75 on the nose.
Yeah.
So you nailed it. Would have been a natural guess, except
but we did not get to continue, so.
Just a snap fold from Nick.
Did not nail it.
I only played 2 events while I was here.
Okay.
That was, what even were they? Oh, just both mixed. The deuce to 7, about 4 off the money in that one.
Was that triple draw or no limit?
That was triple draw.
I love triple draw.
And yeah, same. It's
did I ever tell you about my triple draw story?
I didn't know you had any triple draw stories.
Well, you know, so about 4 years ago. By the way, it's the only time I ever played triple draw.
Okay.
It's midnight at WSOP. Like, all right, I want to play something, and I'm looking what's registering. I just busted like the 2,500 or something like that.
This is live in
yes.
person?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's at WSOP.
It's midnight.
It's midnight,
Okay.
like 11:40 something, and
Yeah.
like late reds ended at midnight or something like
Gotcha.
that. So I get on my phone and I'm like, all right, who knows how to play mixed games? And I text Ryan Lang. I'm like, all right, Lang,
Yeah.
in 7 words, I need you to teach me how to play deuce to 7 triple draw. He sent me back. Basically, it said deuce important, build through deuce.
Okay.
I got 9th.
Wow.
Love this game. I've never played it yet after that, but absolutely love triple draw.
1 for 1 in deep results. Holy.
I mean,
that's. I mean, I was trying to think as soon as you said that. What would be my 7 words? That's tough to get an entire game down to 7 words.
it's really hard, but like the way he those 7 words exactly are like really strong.
Kind of the rule to live by in mixed games is if the card is in the name of the game, it's probably pretty important.
That's funny. Yes.
Yeah.
Ace to 5, you better have an ace.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Fold queen. I did.
Oh, they're talking about that first hand.
Oh, Miles is tilted right now. He's like, you folded a queen?
He probably got a
I'm
message
so
or
salty.
something. Yeah. JJJ in the chat says he was at the table for Conrad's glorious punt in the opener.
Ooh.
Event 1.
Yeah, that was a glorious
It's so
one.
hard to know which one you're talking about.
No,
There's
no,
just so many.
No, I know exactly which one it was. It was cutoff opens, I defend big blind. It was a cutoff or hijack, one or the other. Opens, I defend big blind with 4 deuce of spades. There's like 160 people left. Flop comes 10, 6 deuce with 2 clubs.
Bottom pair.
Check bet call. Turn comes 10. Check, all in.
Call.
Call.
And?
He just has 9s. But, you know, the 10 is not a card that I was expecting to see a bet from 9s there.
Sure.
You know,
he knew his man.
He knew his man. He knew I'm too sticky. What do you want from me, man? Yeah, take the chips. God, I can't breathe. I was so tilted about that. Because I was like, man, this just feels like 2 overs, maybe a club draw. It just feels very, feels like air.
Yeah.
It really does feel like air. Like, the 10 is a scare card. Like, you don't feel great on a 10 on turn. I mean, you shouldn't.
Maybe he thinks your check raising is a lot of 10s and feels even better about his 9s.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I don't know. Either way, he got it all.
Either way, he got my ass.
Conrad contributing to that prize pool.
It was,
and then I played the PLO after that.
Okay, how'd that go?
Stone Bubble.
Good job.
Thanks.
How did you find the stone bubble there?
I'm working with 15 big blinds. Or 17's right around there. Late position opens, one of the bigger stacks. And I'm in the small blind, which
15.
Typically I'd 3-bet this hand, but given the situation, I decided to peel. I have Jack 10, 9, 8 double suited.
Okay.
And we flop the Queen, Jack, 9. Flop second straight and 2 pair on a diamond board. Check, see it continue. I check jam. He snaps with King 10.
Yeah.
So we have the
dead.
second straight against the nut straight. I had 2 pair, obviously redraw, don't get there, and that's it. GG's.
Yeah, it's painful. Annoying spot.
2 real hands here. The 3-bet ace jack versus king 10. Both whiff completely on the 8 high board.
You know, the hands that I love seeing in heads up are the ones that absolute whiffs, and then we just see a full hand played.
Yeah, somehow we get there. Multiple bets go in as people fight. Not the case here. Nick goes with the 3rd pot bet. Different than Miles, who put in the full pot earlier, but of course, different hand. And Miles actually had top pair in that case. Curious to see if Miles goes with these big bets when he doesn't have the goods.
I mean, that was also a 3-bet pot.
This was as well.
Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah, Nick 3-bet out of position and then fired 1/3 pot on the 8-5-3.
Makes sense.
After all this play, whatever hand this is, we're pretty much even. But this is what sounds like, according to the voice in the background, the final hand at the 6K big blind level.
I really love the GFX that they use.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know what we're looking at here. Fire or going through the matrix or
all of the above.
Whatever it is. It's better than just static.
That's what their brains look like playing heads up.
King 8, Jack 9, 2 above average starting hands for this game, and an excellent flop for Nick. Top pair, flush draw. Miles with a piece, gutter ball. For this price, likely feels compelled to peel.
Yeah, it's
Say
hard
that 5 times fast.
It's hard to fold a gutter ball. Him not having a diamond in his hand isn't great. I'm interested to see what he does here.
The over, obviously, a king could still be good. We might just have the best hand sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to fold showdown value.
We'll see a turn. And ending the hand equity-wise, Nick turns his opponent dead, makes the flush, leaving Miles still with just king high, but no hope of winning except bluffing.
Nick obviously extends that rope, and Miles finds a straight. Fortunately for Miles, I don't think there's gonna be too much damage here, you know, with the 4 flush board, but
I kind of
might see a block here.
Kind of like a block bet.
Yeah,
bet
we might
fold.
see. If you're in Nick's shoes, are you going for value? If Miles blocks?
Yes. Not a lot of big cards in Miles' range. He just called pre instead of raising, so we think most aces and strong kings would go for the 3-bet.
Mm-hmm.
King of diamonds probably the only thing we're really worried about. So technically, well, we're not counting straight flushes, but we've got the 3rd highest diamond, taking out a lot of aces and some kings. The jack feels too strong to not raise.
Oh, that's kind of a big size, isn't it?
Just under half pot.
Yeah.
And especially because in heads up, we're not even only targeting flushes. Ranges are so wide that straights abound, 2 pairs, etc.
Yep, we do see a raise here to 85,000. Just a side fold, I assume, from Miles here.
It's tougher fold than you might think in like a full ring game.
Yeah.
The entire range of hands. If we don't have a flush, the next best hand we're going to have is this one. So just talking about what we have to defend against being exploited. Straights very high up in our range.
Yeah, it's just too easy to have a diamond here. The
Just lets it go.
Yeah.
Good fold from Miles. Conserves that final bet. And Nick has swung the tides in his favor, overtaking the chip lead, albeit slight and still plenty deep.
What's your thought on the river sizing there? It's like 40%.
From
Miles.
Miles, I think it's fine. I like a little smaller. I think he's bet folding no matter what size he chooses. So it's just tough to get value from something that's worse than a straight on that board.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to get called by 2 pairs, I suppose is the main thing we're targeting. Something even smaller, like a 25-30% pot, and then we can comfortably fold and we don't risk as many chips. Because if we're folding to a raise no matter what,
this is gonna be fun. Sorry.
No, you're good. I think I made my point.
Yes, you did. But this is gonna be a fun hand. Oh,
a quick call from Nick. Suited king, plays well post. A comfortable 3-3 deuce for Miles pocket 8s.
I'm kind of surprised Miles didn't get 3-bet here pre. This
with backdoor flush, backdoor straight, 2 overs.
Nick is never folding here.
Not folding this one, and only 25% pot bet for Miles.
There we go.
Look at Nick go.
You love to see it.
Pocket pairs are such a small portion of what our opponent has. This time Miles does have it, but so often he's just trying to clear out the nonsense with this raise.
Yeah, Nick being in the big blinds, it's a nice spot to take.
And even if he gets called, there's so many cards he can continue on when he picks up more equity.
Exactly. All right, give us like the
6 of hearts.
Yeah, 6 of hearts, 6 of hearts. All right, all right.
5 of spades,
We can
close
take
enough.
that.
That's fair.
We're gonna see some fireworks here.
This is one of those cards that when Nick puts in the check raise bluff is thinking, if I see this, I am going to lay the hammer down.
Yep, there's a couple of them. It's a heart, 5, 6, or maybe even, I don't think an ace. I don't think you can really go off on the ace. Or maybe you do, just because you're representing a 3 on the flop. So you probably just continue on the ace, to be honest with you.
This is chunky. 90 into 110. If we're Miles, uncomfortable, but definitely not considering laying this down. It's the river that's really going to be the pressure point on this hand, and a very important 5th card coming.
It's 5 more. Oh, so.
Nick with lots of outs. That's one of them. The 6 of hearts comes in on the river.
Spicy.
A beautiful feeling. You check raise bluff, looking for backdoor equity. It comes, and then the backdoor comes in. Perfect, perfect. Drills the straight against now a strong range. Miles has called us twice. We're now praying he has an overpair.
Oh man, this is a really annoying spot for Miles here.
It's just so rare with pocket 8s that when you see a full board, it's still an overpair.
It's just also like a 4, like it's going to be in Nick's blast off range here a lot. So it's just really, really tilting. It's so hard to find a fold here.
Yeah, if Nick was doing something exactly like this, or if he had something
ace 4, 4, 5,
deuce 4.
He wouldn't have like ace 4, but like 4, 5, 4, 6, all these hands.
Right. 5, 6 would probably play it similarly.
I agree.
And we're beating 5, 6, of course.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a side call here from Miles, but
never really doing this with overpairs. Those are cast out with the way this hand went down.
Yeah, Nick doesn't have any overpairs in this situation.
It's really full house, straight, or nothing.
I don't even know how much nothing he has here, honestly. Like, I mean, when I say nothing, I mean like no pair. Obviously, he's gonna have like 5, 6 in hands that you beat.
Or like king 5 of hearts, like you mentioned, that he thinks he needs to turn into a bluff.
Nice fold, Miles. Let's go.
Only put chips in when he was ahead, folded when he was behind, when it mattered most.
What a lovely hand.
Very fun to watch somebody get aggressive there. Results don't mean everything. That hand was played really, really well by both players.
That was beauty. That was a work of art right there by both players, honestly.
Set your clock, because in about half an hour, I have a feeling Miles is going to be talking to Nick about that one on stream as he checks the stream or gets a friend to text him what he had, etc.
I mean, it's so funny because, like, I think Miles just knows he's just in a really bad spot there, and there's just nothing he can do about it. You're just kind of handcuffed by the run out, and you're not winning that often. You're just not winning that often when he checked through the line that was played, it seems.
Get in a spot where you know, like, if you call, you just have a huge chip lead, but if you call and you're wrong, you're just decimated and now have a huge hole to climb out of.
Yeah, but it's also like a thing where, like, Nick has to be betting, like, 5-6 on the river also, though.
Right.
You know, like, he has to be, or he has to be, I don't even know if he bets turn with 5-6, because now he's found some showdown value. He might, but I don't know if it happens all the time there.
Yeah.
All right, we got open here by Nick. Miles calls the big blind, check, and 13,000 on the king 5-3, 2 spades. Miles gets a little piece with bottom pair. Nick's got some air bubbles. Let's see a 4 on the turn. That brings some fun. All right, no fun.
Not even close?
Not even close.
One check.
So is this what you're supposed to do when you're in the commentary booth? Just like root for like the absolute best card to see some action
100%.
Because you just want to slap those veins.
It's what the people want.
Yeah, we just want to slap some veins, you know.
I mean, nobody wants a raise and take it or a walk in the big blind. Absolutely not. We root for blood across the board.
Love
Not
to see
against anyone in particular. Just action, please.
We just want the blood card. Really interesting spot. It's really hard for Miles to continue here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just going to see it fold here.
Two face cards.
It's like you're just like calling to hope he just shuts down on the river, and you're just putting yourself in a really bad spot because he's probably not shutting down too often.
Thus far, Nick shown the propensity to step, I won't say out of line, but taking a little bit creative lines, a little more so.
I mean, their heads up, and they're so wide. It's like, I don't even know if that's like, if it's crazy, you know?
Yeah, not crazy so much, but just not, I suppose for somebody who doesn't play a lot of heads up, not intuitive, right? Like the king forehand, for example, like maybe not natural that I'm supposed to check raise this hand on the deuce 3-3.
No, so that one actually I feel with. Like, I think that, I actually thought he was going to raise flop, I mean pre-flop.
Yeah.
But once the flop comes, it feels like that is a very, very, very good board for Nick to, if there's any board in the deck that he's going to do it with no pair, whatever, that's the one.
Well, another real hand. This time Miles adjusting his strategy to a limp on the button with the 9-6 off. Nick pounces, not only taking advantage of the situation, but also appropriate for a suited ace. Just gets a fold.
That was a 3.5x. Okay. Not too bad.
And we'll have to see if Miles limps hands that are of different properties, like stronger hands, or if it's only the weaker ones that he's hoping to see a flop with.
I imagine we'd see some balance out of that.
See a box there on the right of the dealer. That is the action clock. Dealer's in charge of that, reaches over, hits it when it's on each player.
Quite honestly, every tournament should have that.
I love the, oh man, Nick is getting hit with the deck here the last few hands. Pocket queens. A monster in any no limit game, but heads up just feels like a nuclear weapon.
All right, no queens on the board. Just like put a 5, maybe a little 4-3 deuce. Some type of fun here. All right. Oh, okay, never mind. Man.
The 4 was a good start.
You just get in here. You just like root for action. God.
Because when you watch like highlight clips of live poker and stuff, like the title of the video kind of gives away what's going to happen, or you know who's involved, whatever. This is all like nobody knows. This is happening in front of our eyes. And so, yeah, you're rooting for, you want that highlight clip. Yesterday we had a Royal Flush on stream.
Okay.
Always fun. Didn't get much action, as you usually don't when you got a Royal.
Yeah.
We are up here, blind level 4K, 8K. Nicholas has maintained his 125 big blind stack. Miles has been cut in half. 2-1 chip lead, advantage Papillo.
Still piles of chips in play.
I apologize. I think earlier I said there was around 64. This was only 32 players.
Oh, there was only 32.
32
okay,
in this
okay.
one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We got to win 5 matches to win the thing.
You mean tell me DePaulo couldn't win 4 matches, 3 matches?
I don't even know if he won 1. I have no idea.
Oh man, DePaulo.
The people were not talking. I did not hear DePaulo's name mentioned.
The people were not talking about our good friend. Unfortunate.
Nick flops best. Whether he has the best hand, well, I say best.
So you were asking earlier if he would limp some hands of strength. He went with the ace-9 off here.
True.
Found
Ace of spades, an important card in hand on this 2-spade board. Gives some options on various runouts. Sometimes just the best hand. Nick likely feels even better about his bottom pair.
I mean, Miles probably feels pretty good about his ace-9 too here.
Look at this though. Nick checks it over.
I imagine we see a check here from Miles, just riding out that showdown value.
Does agree. He has certainly underrepresented this ace high and might feel compelled to call down when Nick fires a river bullet.
I thought you were talking about filing nails.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a little glitch in the matrix there.
I live in that glitch, don't worry.
How big? How much does Nick ask for? 18.
So about half pot?
Targeting the king highs, queen highs, maybe even.
I really like this bet size from him.
Doesn't put too many aces in Miles' range, probably. Would be wrong in this case, of course, but you do have a finite number of those time chips. We weren't told exactly how much. It looks somewhere around 8. If you run out and your clock runs out, your hand is dead. Miles has used at least 3, maybe 4 at this point.
Miles has some really annoying spots so far, heads up.
Yeah.
Like, this is really annoying. Like, ace high, it feels very, very strong here. I don't know if the, I was going to say, I'm not sure if the half pot size is ever going to be weighted more toward a bluff. You know, it feels this kind of like value, but
yeah,
I'm not sure.
But we can.
It sees that Miles read it that way, though.
It's a good fold with ace high. When we just call pre, we never raise at any point in the hand.
It's just so hard because, like you said, we're so underrepped, and the board comes Jack 5-3, Jack
paired
X,
board,
or
ace
whatever
high,
it is.
yeah.
Like really dry.
Yep, no problem.
You know, honestly, I wish that river was a 5 of spades, because I would have loved to see if that would have brought some fireworks.
Yeah.
You know, Miles having the ace of spade there, bringing in the flush.
Sure.
Not that he has a flush, but, you know, having the ace blocker there, he might, you know, feel intrigued to go for something.
Yeah, if he would think that he needed to turn his hand into a bluff to get a pair like that to fold, that would have been the card to do it on. Another small one heads Nick's way.
But yeah, again, I know nothing about heads up, so everything I say is probably wrong, to be honest with you.
Honestly, getting good at heads up, all the crushers say, really will help your game in all formats, because you face situations that, you know, mimic heads up so much, like button versus big blind. It's just one of the most popular spots you'll face in tournament pokers. very wide ranges. So
you just have to learn how to play at the widest ranges, and anytime you do that, your game's gonna increase so much.
Correct. Yeah. Miles, pocket eights, hoping to right the ship. The min click. Various sizes being chosen. Early on was 2.5x. Now a little shallower, we go 2x, yeah. A pair for Nick, not good. Miles Snowmen ahead at the time and has Nick drawing fairly thin.
Not feeling too great though, I'll tell you that much.
8,000. 8.
It's interesting because we're obviously not going to be seeing a fold here from Nick on the flop, and on boards like this, it's like it puts you in like this weird spot for Miles because
is what I thought Nick might choose. Aggression with bottom pair. This feels, even though obviously very different board, different pop holdings, very similar to previous spots that Miles has found himself in. He did have pocket eights last time too, and face a check raise with a mediocre holding, knowing he might face barrels again.
Yep.
Doesn't deter him. We're going to put in the call.
Yeah,
a little too strong to let go this early.
Yeah, I like this call. He looked back to see if he had a club. Second that happened, ooh, ugly turn, honestly.
Neither player really loves this. With Miles continuing against the check raise, he has a lot of queens if he wasn't already better than that. Queen Jack, Queen 9, Ace Queen.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a decent amount of Nick's check raises are going to be bottom pair here and hands that can contain a queen.
Yeah.
You know?
Avoids the 2 pair outs, does Miles, and now Nick has to decide what to do with his bottom pair. Feels like a check give up, most likely. He did push him towards the dealer face down.
What a slow roll.
Maybe he thought Nick had hit 2 pair on that river. It was a 6 instead of a 5.
Yeah. Not that Nick ever thought he won, really, but.
Right.
Look at him laughing.
Miles' best live cash was from the World Series of Poker this past year in 2023. Got 6th place in the $1,500 Millionaire Maker. So he was on stream on the final table.
Nice.
He does have a couple wins to his name, both at the win, actually. First place in the 600 back in February of last year. And then first place in the summer $1,100 Win Summer Classic. So certainly knows what it takes to get the job done in his short career.
His circle of friends are elite when it comes down to it. They're going to be a pain in the ass in this game for a very long time. Until they find something else. They make too much money and they just find something else to do because they hate poker.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, great problem. Also going to be great for everybody else.
Once they leave?
Yeah. These kids are good. Kids are good, they're studied, and, you know, they just keep getting better, and they're hungry.
So many people entering this game are just so much better.
Well, that's because they're hungry, they're young, and they're smart.
And there's resources available to assist them in entering the live arena.
Think about like, instead of going to college, or just, you know, they probably went to college, did whatever, did that whole life. But instead of going to college and you started studying poker, you know, you're going to be so good when you get to a certain age or a couple of years of study, whatever.
And I mean, these guys probably play online. Oh boy, let's pause that conversation.
We got some fireworks coming.
Ace King, Ace Queen.
16.
Might we look into the future and see our first 4-bet of the match?
I have a feeling we might see a 5-bet all in.
2 raises to 80,000.
How deep are they right now? 60 big blinds deep?
Yeah, for Miles, the effective stack.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty chunky 3-bet, 16 to 80.
And you know, to be
5x.
to be honest with you, Miles might just smash it here. Honestly,
With the sizing that Nick has chosen,
it allows him to
All
just.
in.
There
Yep.
you go. Sizing definitely allows him to just smash it here, so it puts Nick in a really annoying spot, man. This is so annoying. Heads up.
How much is the count?
and Nick has just grinded away for the entirety of this match, slowly chipping at Miles. Not necessarily through any outplay, but favorable runouts, big hands, second best hands for Miles.
Yeah, I think they're both playing really good.
Could get it all back right here and then some. If Nick calls and Miles holds, these two chip stacks are going to flip and Miles will take the huge chip lead.
You think Nick finds a fold here?
His demeanor is telling me he's going to put this in.
Same here. He's not happy about it, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I think this just goes in probably.
Yep.
He's so
I was right.
so unhappy
Yep,
about
he does.
this. He's so tilted right now, he just knows it, man.
That is not what he wants to see. Show me pocket jacks. Let's flip for it. But
Yeah.
no, 25% equity. A quarter of the time, Nick does finish this off, though. We'll see if Miles can hold a pivotal hand.
This is so huge.
Miles with the goods.
Will we see a lady?
Yep. No problem.
Oh my goodness.
God,
Are
right
you
in
kidding
the middle.
me?
Oh no, that's painful for Miles.
No hearts. We're just looking for a king or running cards now.
Or this one is over.
3 outs once for Miles Mullally. Oh, the king on the river.
Not like that. Woo-hoo-hoo. That is
Wow.
sick. Look at the kid. He doesn't even move. Doesn't even flinch.
Bink the king.
He's
His
like-
tournament hopes were all but over.
He knew.
Best hand holds. And instead of it all being over, now Miles Mullally takes a massive chip lead over 2-1. A sigh of relief and a sigh of frustration side by side in this heads-up match.
Yeah, that was. Whew. Oh man, I know how Nick feels right now. I know that feeling in the deep pit of your stomach. It's like, why did you put the queen out there?
Yep.
I can't take this.
Well, what a roller coaster of emotions. Trying to figure out if he's supposed to call there, lands on a yes.
It's so hard to fold that, man. It's so hard to fold that for a 60 big blind smash there.
Got bailed out on the flop. Got destroyed on the river. And now work to do. An invitation for you, Conrad, once this is over. Jay, whoever that is that saw your punt in event 1, says we've got a 2-5 game open seat, bomb pot tables only.
Nice hand.
I can tell you
Yeah.
that I'll probably be there. I know everybody that was at my table.
Happy to take them up on that invite.
Happy to see you there, buddy. Come introduce yourself. Come say hi to me. The only guy I don't want to play with is the one that called me and not bet the nines.
You don't need that action?
I don't need that. He ruined my life.
16.
Miles, a pretty suited 2-gapper. Queen 9 goes to work from the button. A quick call from Nick. Say what you want. Most of these decisions have been very fast.
Yeah, they're playing. No, it's live poker. Live pros.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of live pros not do so. Queen 9 flops a pair.
They're fake live pros. All right. Or well, I hate to say it, euros.
Okay.
You know, they have to think a
Sure.
lot.
Okay, we can be prejudiced on the live chat. No worries.
We're not being prejudiced.
You're prejudging them.
No, 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 no. Just they think more.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. Prejudging the Americans then.
Yes, I'm American. I'm allowed to do that.
Miles hits a pair. We'll bet on this paired board. Nick comes along, not via the check raise this time, just king high. Oh boy, a full house for Miles, and king high oftentimes is good on double paired boards.
I wonder if we see a check back here for Miles. You kind of want to just...
You want to keep the jack queens, the king
yeah,
jacks.
you want to just keep in all the hands that we're beating, the hands that think they have showdown value in a sense.
No.
And just give him room to improve.
No flush draws available, just straight draws, but he does exactly that.
I love this check back for Miles here. And
his hand got even better now. Nine's full of queens.
it's funny because like that card is particularly bad for Miles to get value on here. I think if we would have saw maybe sub 7 and below maybe, we would see a call sometimes coming from Nick.
Unless Nick, of course, has like jack queen or something.
Well, I'm just saying with his exact holdings,
yeah,
you know,
truth.
king high, it's like, you know.
Because if we're Nick with king high, we want our opponent to have the 8 in his hand.
Yes.
For 7/8s and 6/8s and stuff.
Absolutely.
So we're blocking the bluffs we hope Miles has.
$48.
Pot size.
Ooh, pot.
I kind of like
And
this if we're going to
like
bet.
this.
Because we need our opponent to think we have nothing. So let's go polar. We either have it or we don't. Probably for this sizing is never going to be like a queen only.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting because I'm not really dice. He does find the call here.
Well done.
I guess he just thinks that Miles wouldn't be betting queen jack here, like
That's
for that
what I'm
size.
saying. Yeah. When you go full pot, you're saying full house or air.
Yep. And then hands like, I guess 8-7, 7-6.
Right.
Jack 8. Although Jack 8 is a straight now. So.
Maybe a little bit of annoyance coming through for Nick too after that last big pot.
Yeah.
Either way, he's down to 52 big blinds.
Down to 52 big blinds.
Well, when you
that
start with
piles.
125, you don't want to be at 52.
Piles of big blinds.
10 for the big one.
Raised lines not cheap. I was wondering what Nick's hat said. Kind of like that. Kind of strong.
You said raise lines not cheap?
Yep.
Raise lines not cheap. Okay. Those are 4 words.
I really like the setup they got over here at Borgata.
Yeah.
Really love the streaming setup.
Were you here at the last series when it was all up in the massive conference room on the other side of the casino?
You want to laugh? So
Yeah.
I am from this area. Like I'm from Long Island and I lived North Jersey most of my adult life. And I've been to Borgata maybe, I don't know, 7,245 times.
Estimate, yeah.
You know, I play cash and stuff for the most part. And I only been in the event center upstairs one time.
Really?
One time.
Like the one that they're playing in now?
Not the one that they're playing in now.
On the other side.
The other one, the big one.
Yeah.
One time.
Wow.
And it was for the Almighty and like, oh my God, so long ago. And Mo Farah knocked me out.
Really? The old
Farah
poker
knocked
news
me
guy?
out. No, not
Mo
poker news.
Farah.
Pennsylvania grinder. Ace King versus sevens.
I know Mo Nawara.
Yeah, no,
Different
not him.
guy, okay.
Yeah, old school.
Wow, it's funny how we remember stuff like that.
Well, it's funny because I think it was my first tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
That sticks with
and
you.
we played like code names and stuff like that during
Wow.
COVID afterwards.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what just I remembered? You knocked me out of my first live tournament.
That's so funny because Nikki was here commentating with me earlier today on the other chat. When I met her, it was during a WSOP tournament in Vegas.
Okay.
We both made the final table, and I knocked her out.
Oh, okay.
That was our first experience together.
What tournament was this?
Sorry, not the summer, a WSOP circuit event.
Oh, okay.
It was a $600 daily, or not daily, 2-day tournament.
Nice. Let's see, God, you guys are so good.
My very first tournament I've ever played in Las Vegas, I binked it. It wasn't my first tournament ever, because I played locals back in St. Louis, where I grew up. But my first time I ever came to Vegas, I hopped off the plane, dropped my suitcases off, and hopped in a $400 2-day tournament at Venetian, bagged the chip lead, and went wire to wire.
Nice.
And that was my welcome to Vegas. I took it in cash, put it in my backpack, and walked out the front door. And I had a week in Vegas. I'd never been to Vegas before. So I know I had a week in Vegas with an extra 30K, or 36K.
That's a beautiful time.
Yeah.
My first time to Vegas, I packed a book bag and a suitcase, and I had a one-way ticket, and I stayed at South Point for a week.
Oh, boy.
And I said to myself, you know, I'm just going to go for it. We're going to see how life goes.
Were you playing poker at the time?
Oh, yeah.
Like
That's the reason.
full-time-esque?
I mean,
Trying to figure out a way to make it work?
Yeah, something along those lines. Actually, coming out of a time of not playing poker.
Yeah.
I didn't play poker for, I want to say, like the 3 or 4 years before that because I was raising my little brother.
Right.
And, you know, I would play sporadically, but nothing crazy.
And the idea coming to Vegas was to find a way?
It just popped in my head. I was like, you know what? I have no more responsibilities anymore.
Good for you.
I'm going to go for it.
And here we are, streaming to the people,
Still
3 days a
going for
week
it.
or whatever, 4 days a week.
Oh, what, the podcast?
The pod?
5.
5 days a
We're
week?
out
Well, I
there.
mean, you're not on there 5 days a week. You're always playing something at some point.
You know, I try to be on there. If I'm in Vegas, I'm on there 5 days a week.
10 high flop, top pair for Nick. Unlikely to see it continue for Miles with the 6 high. Oh, it is a back check raise fold. Bill Seliger in the chat, maybe someone else that knows Miles. A lot of people rooting for this kid. I use that term with all respect. Apparently doing very well for himself in the poker world.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this is one of his casinos that he goes to often here, or actually, well, since I'm lying. He's only 23 years old, so he's probably, maybe like his second or third time here.
We are making, like, unless you know that, I'm just assuming because his first result was from 2003.
I'm
or
assuming that,
2023.
I'm assuming that too, but
That he just came out firing as a 21-year-old immediately upon eligibility.
I would go sub 25.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, you would think.
I would think. I'm not sure, but that's what I would say.
Maybe
But yeah, he was probably playing in like Turning Stone way before that. Right? Where is he from? Upstate New York, I believe.
Yeah, it was New York.
Yeah, I believe that was upstate.
Rye,
Yeah.
R-Y-E, New York.
Yeah, and Turning Stone is a 18 and older.
It is. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh,
One of the few casinos I haven't been to.
I have not been there also, but what I hear is they have one of the best circuit stops in America.
You'll see Sean Deeb come out at the Turning Stone for sure, his neck of the woods.
They get a really big turnout up there. I believe it was like a 1600 with like 330 or something up top. Something ridiculous last year.
This all of a sudden could be it. A 3-bet from the ace-8 and a jam from king jack, but nope, the ace-8 deems it not quite good enough. Hard to know you're ahead in that spot.
Yeah, how many big blinds is that
deep.
for? That
We're
was
at
for
10K now, so 50.
50.
You gotta really, really feel like gambling. And
Spicy! The 50 big blind jam with the king jack. Oh, I love to see it.
I know plenty of people that would just call off there, but probably a good fold with the ace-8 off.
If Miles mucked it, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Okay, yeah. A live GTO bot in front of our eyes. Curious to see if Nick 3-bets this for board coverage, the 8-6 suited. Nope, he'll take a check back and play out of position with a 1-gapper.
Yeah, he's got so much playability, it feels like. You don't want to ruin that. Like this.
Oh, what a flop. 2 pair, and then a pair and a flush draw?
Nick with the quick lead.
Now, if Miles plays this fast, this could find a way in the middle.
I believe it will. Nick picked a pretty big size here.
Leads for pots with a hand that is never in bad shape. This is about as bad as it gets for 6-8 of clubs, honestly.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, slow procedure. Nick certainly doesn't have to be this strong. And the 4 of spades stays safe. Only 5-6 gets there.
Quite honestly, what a card for Nick. Picks up some more outs and like he's...
No reason to believe he's up against 2 pair this far.
This is going to be really interesting how this plays out because I believe we're in a... Miles is in position, so we might just see him call down here. Bearing the river.
It is a double flush draw board now, and now even more scare cards that are hard to proceed on, like the 5 and 6. We want to keep the bluffs in for sure, but it might be time to go for some value with such a strong hand.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how he plays this here. Yep, we're going for a call.
And either way can be bad, but Miles is really hoping to see a red deuce on this river. Instead, a better 2-pair, or worse 2-pair for Nick.
Interesting. So we're not going to see all the chips go in the middle here, that's for sure. But Nick is going to get hurt.
Well, here's the thing. Obviously, Miles could make a straight somehow, but I think Nick probably puts him more on a queen than anything.
Yeah, but Nick...
180.
Yeah, my point is
pot-size bet.
Miles isn't going to be raising on this river.
And yet...
Never.
I was curious how big Nick would go. I think he's targeting a queen here.
Yeah, we're just going to see a quick call and get this one over with, I think.
Honestly, with this sizing, doesn't leave us a lot of options.
Yeah, it's a really unfortunate spot for Nick.
We've just called, we've underrepresented. I can't imagine a fold is ever in play. Don't blame him for taking his time and thinking it through.
Miles is going to scoop this one, and Nick is down to 27 big blinds.
I think Nick still thought his hand was best even after getting called there.
Yeah, I mean, he was, like you said, he was really just targeting a queen there.
With Miles not playing it fast on flop or turn, way more likely to have 1 pair than 2. And yet, maybe he got the maximum with the exception of Nick being willing to get it all in with a pair and straight and flush draws.
Oh, let me tell you something. Nick was very willing to put it all in.
Yeah. Instead, left with 27 bigs and a steep hill to climb. Miles Mullally on top. He was 3 outs away from leaving in second place just half an hour ago. A beautiful king on the river got him back into this match, and it's been all steam ahead since then.
Man, it's so funny because like Nick's probably like tilted by the fact that all the chips didn't go in, but also at the same time he can't, like, you don't even realize that, wow, I still have 27 big blinds because of that.
Fair, yeah.
But at first you're like, wait, how did we not just put the chips in on the flop?
It's, if anyone, probably Miles thinking he missed the opportunity to end this thing by playing it slow. He did get a lot of chips for sure, but once he sees the 6-8 of clubs in Nick's hand, Gotta think that, hey, if I just piled at any point, we would have got it all.
Yeah, in a sense, but there's going to be times where Nick doesn't have a hand like that.
Correct.
You know, and
It's
like
just
you want to just leave the door open. So I really like how Miles played his hand there.
Gotta love it when you can pretty much do anything and it's going to work out. Playing against a range of hands, not specific hands though, and Queen 7's a monster.
Yeah. It just makes things kind of dirty on the turn when the straight comes in, double flush draw board. I don't know.
Okay, Miles limp calls the 10-7 off. Nick taking the jack-8 of clubs to war. Okay, that's the flop.
A very boring flop, it seems.
Both with a gutter, but neither with a diamond. Quick fold.
Yeah. It's 28. 28.
So what's next for you after this series, Conrad?
It's quite funny. I was just about to ask you.
Ah. Well, you want to go first?
I don't know, honestly. You don't. That's the reason. That's why you're going first.
Okay, I'm going from here to Vegas to play the first 3 events of the PGT opening kickoff down at the Aria.
Okay, nice.
Their kickoff events are 5Ks, and they're worth double points.
So this is for the next year of standings?
Yes.
Okay.
So their last chance just wrapped up, or is wrapping up today.
Yep, and now they're going to start it off with the kickoff.
Started off again with the kickoff like January 18th or something.
I can imagine
19th.
those first 3 events being really big because they're almost like a trampoline since it's being
exactly.
a 5K.
Exactly.
It's a trampoline because like if you do anything in those first 3 events, you just got that momentum. You know, you're
right.
like, all right,
really good marketing
now
on their end. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Well, just because you offer double points, you offer it at the lower price buy-in, you try to get as many people in early, and then they kind of feel committed to playing more of the season and when they do well.
Yes, but the marketing part is missing.
Okay, when I say marketing,
I didn't know about that.
When I say marketing, I mean the way that the events are scheduled, is that sort of thing.
We were talking about this on the podcast recently, and it's just like it's for a niche community.
Yeah.
And we would love to see it be more broadcast. Like this almost could have like a weekly update. Like there could be a weekly update for the PGT or whatever, top 40 or something like that. There's a lot of work. Like honestly, it could be somebody's full-time job throughout a year.
Yeah, and as it is, to be fair, on their website, it is. But as far as blast to the public and being shown everywhere, maybe need a little work. That's a small team over there. Tim Duckworth.
They're the best.
Doing a lot of work with his team.
Yeah, like they're really good.
So they make the most with what they have available for sure.
I just want to see that get more out into the public somehow. I just don't know how exactly that works.
5Ks, the low end of their buy-ins are still pretty high for the average poker player.
I agree, but I think like the 5Ks need to be like especially the first 3, the trampoline.
Yeah.
I mean, I call them, you know what? It's no more. It's never the opener anymore. It is called the trampoline event because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
If you do something in that and you have the mindset that you want to, I mean, let's get it straight. If you're entering the studio, you want to compete for one of the dream seat, basically, the top 40 or whatever. Like you just want to do that. So I would love to see them market it something along those lines and just get it out there. I think that place is going to be packed. I think their biggest 10K this time was 128 entries.
Players, that sounds about right, but I'm not sure. I know the most recent one was one of the biggest that they've ever had,
I'm not sure what the number exactly was, but it was definitely the biggest that they had, and I think it's just going to continue to grow, honestly.
Here's why I think it appeals to many is because you're playing against some of the best in the game, at least the ones that live around Vegas.
Yep.
And you have a chance, if you make a final table, it's going to be streamed.
Yep.
And then there's oftentimes satellite entries into these things from Aria where you can get in on $400, $500, $600 into these things.
Oh, yeah, I got to go check out those milestone events that they have.
Exactly.
I'm sure they have a bunch of those.
So all of a sudden, you know, you're playing 1-3, you hop in this milestone, next thing you know, you're sitting on Daniel Negreanu's left playing an event that's going to be streamed on Poker Go.
Yeah.
So very cool what they have. Also very low rate, by the way. Their 5Ks are $5,100 when you register on time.
Oh, nice. That's $5,300 around the world.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So a
I'd love
little
to see
discount for the ones you reg on time.
And you get to play in the studio.
exactly.
Most comfortable situation there is in poker.
So we're going to fire those 3,
Okay.
see how it goes. If it starts off strong, we'll include more of those in the plan for this year. If it doesn't, shed our hands of it and move on. Go down, play Doug Polk, get our money back. And then from then on, we're open.
Are you getting odds in this match?
No.
Oh, so you're just
heads up cash game. That's it.
So you're just losing your mind?
I don't know why you got to put such negativity
I'm
out
not
in the world.
negativity, you know.
Well, honestly, when you said losing, I thought you were about to say losing your bankroll, but you said losing your mind,
no,
which
just
is
your
fine.
mind.
I'll roll with that.
You might win. You might win a house, honestly.
It's very possible.
You might win a house.
Because Doug is not stopping.
Yeah, you know. If you run good, you might win a house. So it's not the worst.
I have had a lot of success down at the lodge. I think I've played the live stream probably 20 times.
You played it that many?
And I've only lost 1 session.
Yeah, I watched a couple of them, and you ran like.
I always run pure. I always play 50% plus VPIP. Aggression is high, and it's one of those rooms where you just feel comfortable and confident, and everything goes right every time I go down to it. So
it's kind of funny. I think there was like a week where I watched a bunch of your live streams. It really was. It started off with the oh my God, the Trop, Live at the Trop.
Oh sure, yeah.
Live at the Trop. You just ran like God.
That was a fairly small game, right? That was like the creator game or industry game.
No, it was the Absolute Nut game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you ran like God over 3 days.
That's what I do.
I was like, oh my God.
Sometimes poker's easy.
I think the whole year was easy for you.
With the exception of December. I finally came back down to earth. I cashed 0 events at the Win Series.
Okay, I mean, that happens.
Yeah, but yes, an excellent year in every sense of the word.
Love to see it.
Starting off this one with stone bubbles, though.
Yeah, it happens.
Decent flop here for Nick when you play the deuce 4. He's got a gutter ball. Miles has not much.
Gonna be content with checking this back. You see a quick bet here from Nick for pot, I believe. Yep.
Kind of his choosing sizing in these small pots, maximum pressure, increased fold equity. In this case, gets it done with the 4 high. Miles looking for that knockout blow, blinds increasing, sitting at the 10K level, 32 bigs in Nick's stack, but 32 bigs in any other final table format, plenty to work with. It's just he's up against 118.
Listen, man, 32 still piles.
I know. That's what I'm
Still
saying.
piles. Doesn't matter how much the other man has, just what he has effective. You love to see it.
Sometimes just mentally, though, when you look over and you see such a large chip stack in your opponent, even if you're working with 32, it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Knowing what you have to claw out of.
Yeah, it's part of the grind, though. You know, Nick has been through it. I have a feeling he's not bothered by it
A
one
lesser
bit.
player, maybe.
Yeah. Or just less experienced, you know.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Miles comes in with a 3-bet from out of position, queen 10 off. The suited king from Nick, interesting with this stack size. I think a jam works against the queen 10.
Ooh, jam would be spicy here.
We just go with the call, but a decent chunk of our stack in the middle here. 1.5 to 1 SPR. Nick sees not much on the flop. Gutter ball for Miles. After 3-betting, sees the ace high board. Have to think it continue in order.
Very advantage board for Miles here, it feels like.
Really wants to see a quick fold from Nick when he puts out this upcoming likely C-bet.
I wonder what size he chooses, because I think we'll see 64. Nick peel on smaller sizes here.
Yeah.
So he bet 64 into
160.
160. Yeah. Okay.
With Nick's stack, honestly, like
Maybe
a little bit,
can't.
yeah, a little bit smaller.
Yeah, he just can't continue. I'm sorry. I take that back.
Yeah,
He
we
only
need,
is 24 behind.
unless we go something like 35 or very small, but not in this case.
And we probably won't see that too many small flop bets there, to be honest with you.
Pure aggression gets it done. 3-bet continue. Takes a chunk from Nick down to 24 bigs. Can't afford too many more of those, but won't see too many 3-bet peels on the 24 big blinds at this point. So options get limited as you get shorter, but it also kind of simplifies the game tree. Dominated 10 for Miles. Feels like a limp spot, and he does so.
So funny because, you know,
40.
in heads up, you just don't see any fold spray.
Right,
You know,
hardly
you're
ever.
just out there. You just limp.
Nick raises and takes one. Well, if you're with us and you're in the general area, this series runs all the way till January 17th. Today's the 9th. We've got many, many more events between now and the end of the series, including the culmination of the Borgata WPO Championship. $3,500 entry, that's the main. Day one's on January 12th and 13th.
Tomorrow you got the regs favorites, or the 11th it is. We have the 1100 six max. Every
yes.
reg in the world loves themselves a six max now.
All the action, get to play tons of hands. I thought you were talking about the seniors event at 9 in the morning.
Do you have an ID for me?
Monotone board, 8 of hearts in Miles' hands. Bottom pair for Nick. If you look at the equity, Miles is actually a favorite, but really hard to know that in his spot here.
Almost impossible, but I don't think we'll be seeing a fold here. We're definitely going to see it continue. You know, just having a heart in the hand is worth so much here.
We'll pick up equity on a lot of cards. This is one of them.
It is true.
Now, flush draws, straight draw, and his pair outs are good. King leaves him with 9 high. You know what you do when you have 9 high, though?
No. Fire! Fire!
You
fire.
bluff. When Nick checked back, I don't think he has too many kings.
It's funny because the size that we're going to have to go for here is...
Might it be a 2x pot jam?
Ooh, that's so spicy. You know, that was my original thought, but I think so. I think it's possible. Having a heart in your hand is not bad. When he checks
40.
back the turn, okay.
No,
Just go
instead,
for
40%. Uncomfortable, but I don't think we're folding bottom pair.
Yep.
Gets it done. I like the bluff, not sure about the size, but like you said, if Miles does it, it can't be too bad.
You know, when it comes to heads up, I really don't know when it comes down to it, so.
I think that's a spot that we have to go bigger to increase our fold equity against a weak range.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure how many kings or queens check back on turn, so it might leave him, that might be more reason actually to go smaller. You know, because you're really just trying to get ace high to fold, I would think, in his head.
I think the ace high on a 5 would be the main things,
Yeah.
and both.
No, it's all good.
I think ace 40 might get the ace high done, doesn't get the 5 done, so it's a tough spot landing on a sizing.
Yeah.
Suited hand on the button.
20.
Moving on from the limp, we're going min click and ace 5, 3 bets. Nick's chosen a sizing that doesn't commit him, leaves 270 behind. And just fold, annoying for Miles. Of course, a suited hand in position, but Nick's not deep enough to get so speculative, and we'll let go of the 7-3. Paul Orestein, been reporting on this series for a week now. He's one of the reporters with Poker Word.
Yeah.
Tonight he's in the mix in the $220 kind of milestone event into the main.
Oh, love to see it. Let's go.
Posting on Twitter his updates.
Let's go, Paul.
He says, how much you playing? Guy at the end of the table. 1.5 orbit since we all just started with the same stack.
That's strong. I like that. I like that. Quick wit.
Nick opens up King 6 suited, defends the 9-4, does mild, and a pair for both.
Blinds be going up next hand, 5 and 15,000. 5 and 15,000.
Could be a little trouble for Miles. Going to feel compelled to continue with his second pair.
Absolutely, especially having a diamond in his hand. Tough to fold this one here on the flop.
5 immediate outs. And should one of those come, it might spell the end for Nick. But instead, a spade brings the backdoor nut flush draw for Nick to go with his second pair.
Card that he's never going to slow down on. And I just imagine we see a fold here from Miles. You know, it's kind of funny because we haven't seen any runouts that allow for much bluffing, really. You know, like we haven't seen any 3-bet bluffs really yet, or any fireworks.
The real bluff spots have been like it goes check, check on the turn, and somebody ends up with nothing. Like that's kind of it.
The King 4 of Hearts hand was the one
that would have been interesting should he not have got there, and yet he got there. You know,
even that he got there is still interesting.
I would have been curious what he did on like a 9 river or something like that.
Nick?
Yeah.
He has to unload.
Yeah.
He never stops. After the turn, he never stops.
Right.
I don't think.
Right, because even on an ace, he makes a straight, what would otherwise be a bad card.
Yeah.
A king gives him a disguised top pair.
I think the turn, after the turn, he's like 100% to just go with river.
With the exception of a 3, probably. When the 3 comes, which would make any pair a full house.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing he gives up on.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Anyway.
He also might slow down on a deuce also because he has showdown value. This says king high.
Yeah, on a double pair board. I don't know. It's very clear that his opponent has a pretty strong range. I would think he knows king high no good after 2 calls after the check raise, but we're going back in time now. Let's live in the moment. Nick continuing to put pressure on. He is getting the better end of card distribution over these last 20 minutes or so. Miles tired of folding his suited 3 gappers. Let's get in there.
Whole bunch of hands you just can't fold. Heads up, man.
So the 3-7 of hearts found the bin a minute ago. 8-4 of clubs. We're going to see one. An interesting flop here. Bottom pair for Miles. Open ender for Nick. With the king, one of those that you can cooler another 9 on the queen turn. So even more compelled to get some chips in the middle.
I'll be interested to see if Miles turns his hand to raises here, or just continues to recall.
With Nick's stack, I think if we raise and get it all in, we're not in love with it. So let's just see a turn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
a 4 would be a really bad card for Nick. He'd never see it. Instead of deuce.
It's gonna feel like a card that Miles is probably gonna have to continue on if he bets. Nick bets here.
On.
Yeah, I thought we
Ooh.
might 1.5 it.
Not for that size. I don't know. Yep, in the muck.
Quick fold for Miles.
Nice size there by Nick. Really like that share.
I would have liked Miles to think about that one a little bit. Not saying
It's
he's
so-
supposed to land on a call, but
so
when you go
hard.
1.5,
I mean, that could just be a hand of value trying to deny to like
Yeah.
9, 10-9 or 9-8 or something along those lines.
such a wet board. And clawing back his Nick Papillo over 500,000 again. We're up to the 15K big blind level. Things getting real. The open has to be at least 30K, which means your 3 bets are going to be 100K plus. There's only 1.5 in the middle.
Which means 3 bets are going to be all in at this point.
Getting close. They don't have to, but getting close. Especially if they're continuing to choose slightly larger sizing.
Yeah.
The 35, the 40K opens.
I just raised small blind, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
yeah.
This repetitive action.
This is what heads up will do to you.
Yes.
This is what heads up will do to you.
Yes.
That's why you have to be a
Start
psychopath
going
to play
a little
it.
crazy.
All right.
Now you got confused with the button. I did. Sorry.
Nick throwing our dealer off.
I did start it.
Another suited low hand for Miles, just over and over.
30.
This one, though, not a raise. Nick continues. King 8 off. Miles flops the flush draw. King of spades in Nick's hand.
We see a spade on the turn. We will be seeing some fireworks,
24.
I believe. Not really a flop that Nick is going to fold on with the king of spades in his hand.
Could also see a jack
Oh,
to give Nick.
we're going for it.
Well, now it's certainly true what you said. After taking the check raise line, if we see a spade on the turn,
I quite honestly think that we might just see a smash here by Miles. Oh, he's in position. He might just find the call, but having 4 high here, you know, not the best feeling. But in position, it just plays as a call better.
Nick has shown a tendency to sometimes shut down too
Yeah.
after getting called on these check raises.
That is true. Why does he always have king 8 in his hand when he check raises
I
flop?
don't know, every time. I feel like he's had middling kings over and over and over. Oh, now a pair for Miles to go with his flush draw.
Feels like we're going to see a check here. And Nick is praying not to see a spade on river.
Holding the king of spades, we kind of have a card that we want our opponents to have. King jack, king high flush draws, all these things. Weights them slightly more towards value.
Just imagine we'll see a check back here
Yeah.
by Miles.
Not a turn we want to see when we check raise the king 8. Need to pick up some extra equity to keep firing, and the 4 is just a blankety blank. A deuce of clubs. Will Nick give up, or will he fire with his king high? DePaulo in the chat. Oh, a 2x. Let's take a moment.
Ooh.
if Miles hits the call button, this is all over. But
no, it's too tough to call.
Let's
a
it go.
Spot.
Oh,
Nick finds it there.
What a play.
Woo, juicy. Stacks are even in and out.
My goodness.
Got about 40 big blinds effective. 42.
Getting closer to even, you're right. As I was saying to Paulo in the chat, he says, let's go Miles. I max late regged with him and let him go ahead of me. That should be my ticket.
Does the Paulo know that you have to play it the same to get there, or does he think that he would just be there?
He says, I lost the first round, maybe called too loose, but I battled.
Love me some Ryan.
But he's coming back into late reg, the 1K6 max, of course. Safe travels to Paulo.
You know, last year when I came here, I actually won a tournament at the Paulo's house.
Stop it.
Yep, I got off I took a bus from New York City to like his house basically.
Yeah.
And I registered the 320 Sunday on my phone on the bus. And you know, we just shipped it for a little 20 something.
When you said that, I thought DePaulo was running private games at his home. I won a tournament at DePaulo's house, he said. We got an open ender for Miles.
I mean, he has a whole slot set up downstairs, so he might as well run private games too.
Look at this. Nut flush draw against open ender. Neither player with a pair. There are some rivers that get very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this turn is just... We're going to see some chips go in here, I believe. Just not sure how. Imagine if we see a bet for Miles here that Nick will just call.
Yeah, Miles has way more queens and nines after Nick checks back.
Yeah, and picking such a big size. He goes for the 1.2. Or
1.5.
1.5, yeah. Spicy. And Nick can never fold here, so he's just going to call. This actually, his size kind of bends him to only calling.
And the most interesting card in the deck is a blank.
Yep. Yeah, his size bends him to only call, so that's really interesting.
3 of spades is what's most interesting as a viewer. 5 of spades qualifies.
That works.
Miles left with jack high. 1.5 or so stack to pot ratio and Nick's effective stack. Does he go for it? Every time we've seen him go for it, he's chosen really small sizings to minimize his losses.
Yeah, I mean, when he starts with the overbet on turn, I don't think we're going to be seeing any minimalization here.
I love going geo and keeping the 1.5.
Which would...
Keeping the same, oh, just checks.
Makes sense.
Does it?
I hate it.
We need ace highs to fold.
Yeah, but you just bet so big on turn that like he's going to have the exact hands he has. When you have Jack 10, it's like I have to get a queen to fold now.
Well, Nick checked back the flop. How many queens does he have? I think it looks a lot like ace high and diamond draws and king jack and that sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe you are right there.
And look at all of a sudden, we're right back where we started. Each of them with about 50 big blinds in stack.
Gotta love heads up
grind on at multiple times. This thing could have been over, and instead we're even once more.
Call.
Ryan says to you, we would have played it exactly the same. That might have been like my favorite tournament win that like one influencer vlogged or streamed, whatever, winning it from the parking lot. I know it's a thing of legend at this point. When DePaulo ripped a bracelet in a parking lot Wi-Fi.
I wouldn't imagine that probably happens more than we know. Maybe not a bracelet, but like people just driving across the border into New Jersey or Michigan or something like that, and just grinding their car or a Starbucks or something like that.
I think most people, get a hotel or something.
Maybe.
DePaulo was sicko.
If you're only going to play 1 or 2 tournaments, you're just sitting there.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't remember the background of like why that had to happen. Like, was his Wi-Fi down or something that he had to dip out to a parking lot?
Oh yeah, because he lived in New Jersey.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, did he live in? He might have lived in New York at the time.
So he just drove cross border to a parking lot, like couldn't get a room or something?
I have a feeling that Ryan used to live in New York, I believe.
Yeah.
And
don't remember. It might be some fun nostalgic to go back and watch that vlog. Bottom pair for Nick against ace high and gut shot from Miles. Ace on the river.
Oh, it's interesting. This was a 3-bet pot by Nick pre-flop, or a 5x open by Nick pre-flop after a limp by Miles.
Nick gonna go for it. He's got the queen, which blocks queen jack. He's got bottom pair, which blocks a lot of 2 pairs. But I don't think we're trying to get an ace to fold.
No, he just, in perception is that he has an ace in his hand.
Yeah.
Going with the 5x pre versus the limp.
This is a chunky bet over pot too.
Yeah.
But Miles, come on. Put on the cape.
So hard to fold to up air. Just finds the call here.
Gets it. Takes it down. Puts in the call, and a chunky pot puts Miles back over $1 million.
I really like Nick's river bet there.
Same.
I really do. Having a queen in your hand, having the deuce in your hand, and like just having 5x in pre there, I think like that's a really good sizing.
Trying to get 8s to fold, 9s to fold, any other pair besides an ace. And let's be fair, Miles has folded most spots where heavy aggression was laid upon him. But usually he's had bottom pair,
just
second to bottom pair.
Card distribution,
right.
really.
Top pair, too good, finds the call, well done. And Ryan provides some context. Thanks, sir. He said he did live in New York City at the time, rented a car for the series. Then the hotspot was not working, so he had to use the mall's Wi-Fi because he wanted to use the computer.
Ryan, you should probably do whatever you did that time a couple more times.
I think like Matt Hansen and Jesse Fullen did a road trip. They drove out to that spot and like laid a monumental plaque in that in that parking lot.
No way.
Did you know this happened?
I know that I saw something that they were doing, like a road trip, but
I think they went to that spot and put a plaque down of some sort.
That's funny.
I don't know the full story there. I might have details wrong, but I know something along those lines happened.
That's funny. Man, I really love these Borgata trophies.
Oh, yeah, DePaulo. I guess DePaulo went out there with them. Says he they super glued a plaque in the parking lot. That's great. Celebrate your wins, one way or another.
Quite honestly, one of the DePaulo fans just went and picked that up. Brought themselves a shovel.
If they didn't
put it on
before
the
this,
wall.
they might now.
Yep.
Oh, a couple of kings. Domination Nation. Miles suited and in position.
Oh, God, we know we're going to see a raise
how
here.
Many
Nick
times
got
is
King 8.
Nick? No, not this time.
No, on the flop, on the flop.
Okay.
Yeah, not now. Just relax.
After he bricks everything.
Queen, 4 deuce. That works.
This is a very similar.
Look,
You're
this
right.
is great. Nick has the king of clubs. This is amazing. Do it, Miles. We need to see this progression pan out. And here comes the quick raise.
You just won action.
No, it just happens every single time. It's so good. I love this.
Magic 8 ball working. It's a small raise.
God, I love this so much.
Compared with sizings he had been using.
Do you think in the
Because
back?
Miles just bet one big one.
Yeah. Do you think in the back of Nick's head he's like, "Oh, I have King 8 again. I hope I get 2 clubs on the
He's
board.
had this hand
I'm
4
gonna
or
go
5
for
times
it."
and take the aggressive route every time. Miles with a gutter to the nuts comes along. No real change on the 9 of spades.
I'd like to see Nick continue here, I think. There hasn't been a hand where he has 3-bet flop.
175.
Yeah. There hasn't been a hand where he 3-bet flop and continued.
He bets pot. Miles has got to be getting tired of this line that he's up against.
Well, he hasn't seen this yet. He hasn't seen the turn bet. He's only seen the flop check raise.
He has given up, except for the King 4, or the King 4.
Yeah, true,
That's
true.
the one time. But yeah, you're right.
But that was
Does
the hand
give
of
up a lot.
that was the hand of value. So I feel like Miles is going to read through this or read this as
Strength.
yes.
Yeah.
I really like that bet there from Nick.
He's
Just for the-
choosing a lot of ace-high boards to check raise as the big blind.
Yeah, that's interesting. But it, just like the perception of what's been going on and how the hands have been playing
Yeah.
out, it feels like every time they'll find themselves at showdown after Nick 3-bets flop or raises flop, and they're just in a spot where Nick just has to check.
Yeah.
And Miles has been winning with mediocre hands in these spots. So I like to see him shell it off there.
30.
A little something for both players. Bottom pair for Nick, second pair for Miles, but Miles holds the Queen of Diamonds on the all diamond flop. Miles will not be going anywhere to this one bet. A 5 puts a one-liner on the board. Doesn't improve either player, but not Miles' favorite card. To lead, to check. Checks over to Nick, who continues the aggression with his bottom pair. Maybe protecting against overcards. Maybe trying to get a 3 to fold.
I think the pot size here too, really interesting.
Not going anywhere is Miles' third pair, third nut flush draw. And a juicy pot developing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how this plays out on river. It's going to be so tough for Miles to find the call if Nick does bet here. But also, I don't think Nick finds this hand to be have any showdown value, so it's really interesting here. Not having a diamond is, kind of leans toward wanting to bet.
Now, if our opponent just has 2 overs and a diamond, then our deuce is good.
3.
That's not what Nick wanted to hear. I think if he had the King 8 there, we're seeing a shell unleashed. But the deuce just beats all of our opponent's high cards. It's the one, the 3 is the one hand we need to fold
Yeah.
via bluff. Because most other 6s are 2 pairs or too strong to fold. That's a chunky pot for Miles. Nick left with 400K. Limped pot. Top pair for Miles on the 7 high board. We've seen a lot of big blind leads from Nick. This one's not getting through. Continues with a call. Nick checks after some resistance.
Imagine this hand just plays out pretty straightforward.
I think we'll see a bet from Miles in a fold, but no.
Ooh.
Maybe extending some rope. Oh, and Nick makes a 5. He might think this is good enough to value bet and does.
Yep.
Nearly pot
Just
and
get
gets
a quick
snapped.
Spicy by
That is
Miles.
the
Gives him a little bit of rope and
The literal worst card in the deck for Nick, because the 9 gives him the best hand and he gets paid.
yeah,
Any other card, he's probably just check folding.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many cards he bluffs off on. Maybe a 4, but that's about it.
The 5 specifically, good enough to value bet. And of course, getting snapped by the 7 in Miles' hand. Back to where we were at the worst for Nick, 22 bigs. 100 big blinds in play at the 15K level. Okay, we're taking the Jack 4-0. Trying to end this thing with the Robbie. King high board.
So sick that we named a hand after that.
I know.
Oh my God.
What can you do?
It's the world we live in.
Bet and a fold, easy pot for Nick. 365K in tow.
Nick's getting short here. 22 big blinds. Gonna have to work.
Something tells me these guys aren't going out for beers after this.
Why, you don't like the friendly conversation going on?
There's been all of 12 words said this entire match, and most of them were just dealing with whose big blind it was.
For what it's worth, I played a decent amount with Nick, and you know, unless you talk to him, you're not going to get too much
That's
conversation.
what I'm saying. Yeah,
if
fair.
you draw it out of him, he'll talk. It's cool.
Right. But no real indication that a blossoming of friendship is in the works.
This is heads up, man. This is me versus you.
Lock
Somebody
in.
has to lose here.
Lock in.
We have to lock in.
Oh, Nick goes to war with Jack 5, and Miles limped the button. I doubt to fold. The question is, did we set the trap to jam, or are we going to call? Call it is. Ten high board or queen high board.
This is going to be spicy. We have Nick having the jack in his hand. He's definitely going to be continuing here. And Miles will be going nowhere, I assume.
That looks fairly big.
Yeah.
90? $75. A gutter ball for Nick. And should Miles call this, Nick's only going to have about 70% pot back. $280 in the pot, 225 behind for Nick, a 6 on the turn. Do we hear the 2 words?
No, we're just gonna have to check here. Imagine we see a check back here from Miles. I'm not sure he's gonna fold on many rivers.
Yeah, I think Nick might be done with the see the check behind bluff river, because unless he improves here to a jack or a 9.
I think.
Oh, the ace though is one card he might feel compelled to bluff.
Absolutely, it's gonna be interesting here because he did. Where'd he go? Went limp. 4x.
Nick, yep.
Yep. So okay.
Now 3.5x, but just check. You gotta wonder if that
Nick's
one would
having some
work.
regrets. Nick's having some regrets not pulling that river.
And now we're down
on the river
to 15 big blinds.
15-minute break. If both of you wanted to agree to a 10-minute break, we can absolutely accommodate that.
Whatever you want to do is cool. I'm down to play it out. Same. Yeah, I'm good to go.
That is a live pro right there.
They want to take a break. Does that work for you guys? Hold on, because you might need to actually just give me 1 second to talk to Bob. Okay, great. All right, gentlemen, we are happy to accommodate. We're just going to switch out dealers.
Okay, sounds like a break was, it was time for a break, but the player said no thank you. Why would we do that? Let's play this out. Who needs the restroom? Who needs to stretch your legs?
They're locked in and ready for war, man.
So are we.
Let's get it.
Quick dealer change.
All right, and the blinds are up to 10,000 small blind, 15,000 big blind. 10,000 small, 15,000 big. Okay.
85 big blinds to 15 big blinds, a massive lead for Miles Mullally. Could very easily get all the chips in at any point with these stack sizes. Five-3 off for Nick, plays it as a call on the button. Now Miles has the king-8.
I imagine we might be starting to see some smashes coming in.
Not this time. Maybe taking a page out of Nick's book and waiting until he breaks the flop to put in the raise.
Put 2 hearts on the board.
Oh, I saw the deuce and the 4 for Nick. An open ender, but all clubs. 1 big blind. Quick fold. 5 high.
Love to see it.
Always a win when you're raking pots with 5 high. Miles just very content to look the other way in between hands, not engage. Stay focused on the task at hand.
Yeah, the kid's locked in.
I could see Nick
30.
out in the backyard on a Sunday afternoon, grilling barbecue for the family.
Absolutely. Maybe playing some bocce ball or something.
100%.
He definitely has like a cornhole set up at his house, right?
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind.
He's got a custom-made apron that his children gave him. Miles takes it down with 8 high. Taking a stab with air, getting it done. Guess we're repeating the 15K big blind level. Had to be what happened.
Oh, yeah.
After break, we would have bumped up, but we didn't, so.
I like that.
Understandable. Instead of adding in a 12K level or something like that, let's just play 15 twice.
Yeah,
Keep it simple.
I like that a lot. This structure actually feels really good. You know?
As it should for a 2200 or 2500.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not too slow, not too fast.
Yeah,
it's kind of like perfect.
reasonable.
Yeah, it feels like a perfect pace.
2-3 hour heads-up matches, kind of on average, feels right.
What time did this start?
I can tell you because I sent a message. Oh, about 7:40 or so.
Okay.
So we're 2 hours 20 minutes in.
Oh, it's been that long?
Couple of sixes here. With the all-in sizing, King 6 might be a little light to call off.
Yeah.
It's close, given the fact Nick's thinking about it.
How many big blinds are we working
We're
with?
looking at 14.
Less. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly 14 big blinds. I think ace 6 is a clear call. Stronger kings probably get in there. This middle king is annoying and cuspy.
Yeah. What king would you call here with as your bottom?
I think like king jack is an obvious call. King 10 a likely call.
King 10 off, king 9 suited, something like king 8 suited maybe?
Yeah, I think king 9 suited, probably happy to get it in there. Miles specifically, I know I've seen his cards all day. Not one to really be ripping things too lightly, but we see a call and the worst possible sight for Nick, a better 6. This could be all. We've seen it down to 3 outs already, though.
Anything can happen, my friend. Anything could happen.
And if one knows how to play middling kings, it's Nick Papillo, based on this heads-up match. This time, though, it's all in the deck's hands, and we're looking for runouts. No king, just backdoor options present themselves.
Nobody has a heart here. I'd love to see a jack for a sweat.
A queen. We needed a king on the river earlier to extend the match. We need one again. Anything but that, and Miles wins the thing. That's it.
That's over.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Match over, fist pumps there. Miles Mullally is our $2,500 heads-up championship winner as Nick Papillo makes a quick exit, taking home just over $15,000, a sip of water, and 30K richer. Miles Mullally is your champion. What a fun heads-up match, Conrad.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Big congrats to Miles. I loved the way he played. That was really good. Nick also played very well, I think.
A fun battle, back and forth, lots of creative plays, deep stack from the start, got a little shallower towards the end, and Miles finds a way to get it done against the longtime grinder, Nick Papillo.
Yep, that was awesome.
Well, thanks for joining me in the booth. I know it was unscheduled, unplanned, and you're just down for anything fun, and I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun being here.
Well, good luck the rest of the series. I'm going to dip my way back to Vegas, but I'll see you back here for the main.
Absolutely.
All right,
Later,
good night.
man.
Shout out to production. Thank you all for everything you do. Thank you, viewers, for being here with us. We will see you tomorrow for the stream of the Almighty Million. Good night. Good luck.